And you've given me a great segue into the next question, which was why choose a franchise? And I want to make sure that our listeners heard kind of your husband's decision-making process there, which was not having been in business previously. He started looking at and visibly looking at the results that certain types of businesses were experiencing. And he leaned toward a franchise, which is a system. You actually become part of an existing system that has a proven step-by-step method of doing things, and it has a proven financial and earnings track record generally for each individual location. And so your husband basically used that as his empirical method of choosing whether to do a new standalone business that you guys just came up with a storefront and all of that startup on your own versus entering a franchise system.
Right. You got to know when you're going into business that if you've never done something before, you want to kind of look at what has been done that's successful. And a franchising business is almost a how should I say, it's a step-by-step kind of formulated system that teaches the greenness of person. First of all, you have to go to their training center. You don't just put the name on the door and open business. They train you, they teach you how to do the day-to-day operation. They also teach you, in Subway's case, we have a class called Subway University. So you go for 2 weeks to Connecticut, where the headquarters is located, and you go through classes of the business part of it, how to read P&Ls, how to understand your food costs, how to schedule your labor, understanding their computer system, all the financial paperwork that is requested of them. You have to understand how that is all pulled together. They teach you how to be successful on the bottom line, how to manage labor and food costs, which is the two things in any restaurant business that will tank you if you don't manage those. And then also how to run the day-to-day operation, how to make the sandwiches, how to clean the store, how to protect yourself from liabilities such as slips and falls, food poisoning. I mean, handling of food is like so important. And so they spend a lot of time on giving you those basic things that you need to run your business, but they also teach you the things that you need to keep your business open. Because you can have as many customers as you want coming in the door, but if someone gets food poisoning because you're not handling food properly, that's a liability. If someone slips and fall because you're not paying attention to some ice that melted on the floor from the soda machine, that's a liability. So they teach you quite a bit. So you don't have to reinvent anything. And that's one of the good things about most franchises. And so that's why my husband was like, we've never owned a business. I don't want to start anything and just wing it. I want a system that has been proven and that's working.
And so it's not inexpensive to engage as a new franchisee. So talk to our audience a little bit about that process. The franchise actually charges you enrollment fees, and then continuous fees as you remain a part of the franchise system.
Each franchise have a different franchisee cost to get in. So to become a franchisee, you have to pay a fee. It can range anywhere from $20,000 to $200,000 depending on the franchise. And today the cost is different. What we entered in 2003, today those numbers are different because as the franchise become more successful, the entrance fee to become a franchisee goes up. And so you have to do your research and make sure that those numbers work for you. In my husband and I case, we had no money. We were, like I just told you, we moved from the Virgin Islands, started over twice, Georgia and then Florida. But what we did have was a seeded piece of property. We had a property in St. Thomas that we had planned to build a house on. And funny, it was something where we ended up buying a house instead of building a house. So we still had the property, we didn't sell it. And so my husband and I decided, okay, we're going to split that property in two, and we're going to sell. It was a half an acre, and we sold a quarter acre of it, and that became our seed money. And so because of that, we were able to then take that money and pay for our franchise fee.
Amazing.
Then, yeah, the other thing is, so when you become a franchisor, a franchisee, you have to pay the franchise fees, and it varies from franchise to franchise. So in our case, Subway have what they call the franchise fee, and then on top of that, they have a marketing fee. Those fees are paid weekly. Some franchisors may say they'll charge you by month. Some charge you by week. In our case, it's a week. So every week, a percentage of our sales goes to Subway, and that covers using their name. Basically, they're saying you're paying me to use my name. And then the other marketing piece goes towards marketing your stores. And it's local marketing. In this case, the money is used for local marketing, but it's controlled by headquarters. So when you see a Subway commercial in your local market, it's our advertising dollars from this market that goes into those commercials, radio, TV, print, but they're managed by headquarters. So those are responsibilities that you have, that you must pay in order to keep that name on your door. If you don't pay them, the name comes down.
So explore a little bit for in fact, and you and your husband operate multiple Subways now.
Yes, we have 4 Subways in St. Thomas. And we also just became, maybe about 4 years ago, a franchisee of Sbarro's, which is a pizzeria. So we actually have 5 franchises that we own. And each one operates a little different. There are different rules for each one. Mm-hmm.
So let's discuss briefly, if someone is listening to us and thinking about entree into business, for the advantages of entering a franchise, which allows you to have an existing system that you get training, you get plugged into, and so forth. It has demonstrated sales and history and so forth. There are also there's another side to being involved as a franchisee. Can you share just a little bit of insight in that regard?
Yes, like for example, the remodeling of stores. Every couple of years, you have to remodel your store to keep it fresh. That's all done by the franchisor. And as a franchisee, they have the footprints. Everything that you see in the store is purchased through Subway. And then we as a franchisees, purchase that material for construction and remodel our stores. So you don't have to worry about going into a local lumber stores to buy anything. Everything has to come from Subway. So we remodel our stores. I believe it's every 10 years. Yes, every 10 years. And then equipment comes from them. So they have big purchasing agreements with different companies. So when you order your refrigerators and your coolers and your display units, that all comes from their purchasing power. So you get it at a better price than if you walk into a regular commercial store that sells refrigeration. You will pay a whole lot more. It's still not cheap, but it's cheaper than if you were to shop it on your own. Food. The food comes from an approved Subway vendor. So it comes from a big food distribution company such as Cheney Brothers or US Foods. They're different ones in the States. We're connected to ones in Florida, and it's Cheney Brothers. And purchasing agreements are made with manufacturers of different types of products, such as your turkey manufacturers, your steak, your tuna. And so again, Subway have a co-op that they work out pricing with these companies. So as a franchisee, you're buying at that co-op price. Again, all of this is done to help you control your food costs, but also for consistency in the products for the franchisor. Because you don't want to go to a Subway in Florida and then go to one in New York and their products are different, taste different, look different. So everyone buys the same products from the distribution centers. POS systems is another great tool that they offer. You purchase your POS system from them. Everything is, of course, at a cost, but they program it. You have the online support if you have issues that they dial into your system and they fix your computers. Even your toiletries and your cleaning supplies, they're all coming from approved vendors of Subway with
So
negotiation.
POS then,
Point
for
of sale.
those who are not, this point of sale. So that's the cash register and things that you see for
Mhm.
actually closing and consummating sales,
Yes,
and the software behind there.
yes, because they're proprietary, so they are written specifically for Subway restaurants.
So is there mostly benefits and fewer disadvantages for being associated with a franchise?
I think it's how you look at it, because I know some franchisees who feel like, you know, the cons are like heavy for them because, you know, every week you're sending a portion of the money that you make to them. Um, you know, you want to shop for your own refrigeration system. Why do I have to buy it from them? Um, but for me, I think there's more pros than cons. I feel that I like the controls that they have in place. One of the things that we do every month is we have inspections in our restaurants every month. And, you know, someone travels from from the corporate office. Ours happen to be in Puerto Rico. And every month we're inspected. Some people think it's annoying that you get inspected every month. I have no problem with it. It keeps you on your P's and Q's. So it just depends on your mindset. For me, I like the fact that I don't have to create anything. Now, there are things that they propose that you can add your twist on, especially living on an island. Everything is not going to work out the same way it works out in the States. For example, my shipments, I can't call today and get a shipment tomorrow. My shipment is traveling by a container. So I have to work out in my head what it's going to take me to be able to have complete inventory from one week to the next. And I have to figure out my buffers. So my food costs in my freezer will be more than what it is in Miami or Atlanta because they can have trucks come to them twice a week. I have one container that comes to me once a week, you know. So there are different things that you work out that to based on your knowledge of your business, but following their guided you know, their guidance in terms of how it should work. But no, nothing is cookie cutter. You have to kind of tweak it to your needs. So for me, there's more pros than cons.